All right, greetings, internet sojourners. So good to be back on Twitch. Took a couple nights off to focus on some other things. Got a new video out about Monsters and Memories last night. And if you're not as excited as I am about Monsters and Memories playtest this weekend, you should be. So check that video out on my YouTube if you haven't already. And by the way, got some good news before the stream started. Michael Bolton released a new Christmas album. Yep, you heard that right. So you can't hear it, but I can hear it. And I'm listening to Michael Bolton. I can't even keep a straight face. Yes, I am listening to it. I don't know how long it's going to last, but yeah. So, welcome to the stream. I'll bet my more astute viewers will be able to tell precisely where I'm at right now. I am in the little safe spot hidey hole in Dalnir, and I have more farming to do before I move on. Even though I'm starting to get pretty tired of down there. Check out this robe though. I shouldn't be tired of down there because look at this drip. Look at that. Yes. That is the tattered tomb shroud. I look like I have 29 charisma because I do have 29 charisma. Mr. Best Friend is probably setting a record as the least charismatic Ixar on Kunark right now. I don't know, 29. Can you beat it? Does anybody out there have less than 29 charisma? I want to know. Oof, that tea is too hot to drink. Let's see. Okay, we got a blue con pet here, so we'll check his level as we go. Sorry. Give me 1 second. Okay. I muted my mic for that. Otherwise, anyway. Oh, I got a new tip. How cool is that? Somebody dropped a tip on here this morning. That was really a big surprise and kind of nice to see. So, anonymous tipper, I thank you. I kind of know a little bit from your PayPal, but I will not say your name on stream. So I will call you anonymous tipper, and I just want to say thanks. And it's so I'll say this. So right now, depending on where you're at, right, you potentially have holidays coming up. You potentially have family members and gifts to buy and traveling and all that. So the fact that you took some of your um, financial resources and divested them to me as a show of appreciation, I appreciate it as well. Thank you so much, Neutral Rockets. Thanks. Welcome to the stream. I did not want to disappoint you, uh, and not have the stream up by 7:30. So in fact, I was about 5 minutes early. So, oh, look at this Kobobtik, whose health I can't see. There we go. Is hitting for 39. He's a max level pet. Let's give our max level pet a little bit of a heal here. That's actually not the heal I need. Shadow Compact is the most mana efficient heal that I have. I've been waiting in front of my screen for 3 days straight. I'm so sorry. Did you watch the Monsters and Memories video? I cranked it out in like I don't know. It was pretty quick. Oh, I don't have NParse up. What am I doing? Did you catch the part at the beginning of the stream where I said Michael Bolton has released a new a new Christmas album? I don't like this. I don't like that it hides his health every time I click on a spell. Oh my gosh. We need to bring this down. There we go. This is doable. I think last time I streamed, it was so quiet in here I started going crazy and I started changing my like layout and making adjustments. I do think I need to change how my chat box shows up. I want to do like kind of how a loving robot does the big messages at the bottom. Because it's not like my chat box just rolls like constantly, right? So, nope, missed that. Well, Michael Bolton has a new album out. Make sure you check it out. It's a Christmas album. How great is that, huh? What else? Looking forward to seeing the playthrough. Are you planning on doing the whole weekend? I am going to do enough to satisfy both my viewers and myself on getting footage without sacrificing my own dignity and jeopardizing my relationship with my girlfriend. So all that to say, I have spoken to her and told her like, hey, this is the plan for this weekend. I'll be streaming. There will be this event going on. However, I'm not gonna do like 16-hour days. I don't have that in me. I don't think there's actually. Let's see, the Crusaders up. Coerce Revenant. Crap. Sorry, I don't think I can keep this pet window here. What's the deal? We move this. Maybe move this up. I don't want it like blocked. Oh my gosh. There we go. How are you supposed to grab this? Tough choices, MMO versus girlfriend. You know what? Rather than continue to mess with this, let's just move the pet window here, I guess, and the action window up. I just wanted to like clean up my oh, that's not good. Let's see. I swear, I know what I'm doing here. I don't know why he just disappeared, and I'm a little bit scared. Did anybody else see that? Like, the coerced revenant. I did a screaming terror on him, and then he legitimately like warped. He warped away, and he is now gone, and I don't know where he is. Yeah, that's what I'm worried about. Like, I I don't know what to think. Like, should I start a spawn timer? That's the spawn that I need to kill. Do I start a spawn timer? Do I not? Like, what's the right answer here? Sorry about that. I ran outside today. I had a great run. I did a 3 mile pace run today, and now I'm all phlegmy. Yeah, I don't really know what to expect here now. Am I gonna get trained? Is in 21 minutes is he gonna respawn? What I'm hoping for is that I can like see a train coming and I'll just try to feign death. But I mean, if it's a huge train, like You might not even get a single like server tick before you're done. You had a mob disappear into the ground. Where was that at? That's like that's like early 2010s WoW private server stuff. I'll be honest. P1999, I'm a little disappointed right now. I'm looking at you with the judgy eyes, P1999. I've been so faithful to you, and I sing your praises. As long as it doesn't train me. But this entire area is buggy as hell because I've had my pet disappear through that wall, and then I started getting punched. I kid you not, I started getting punched right here by a coerced gnome. And all I had to do was back up, and I wasn't getting punched anymore. So there's like a portal to hell somewhere over here. And I ended up feigning and just letting my pet die because I was like, no, I don't know what's gonna happen. Like, can the mobs jump down from the top down here? Can they go through the one-way door? Those are all questions that I actually don't want to know the answer to because it generally involves me dying if I know the answer to that. But yep, here we are again in the Spectral Crusader room, and I did a little bit of a mock-up kind of guide on my last video here, and I just realized I never published that to YouTube. It was a super quiet stream, so I'm like in here going, "Hello, is there anybody out there? I'm so lonely." And then I started getting kind of like antsy and like changing my UI up and all that. And then I think I got about 2 hours in. Yeah, it was 1 hour 59 minutes. And then I was like, okay, it's kind of time. Like I'm tired of killing this guy that spawns here. The Spectral Crusader, for whatever reason, just does not want to drop these arms. And it's kind of confusing me because the wiki is like, yeah, it's like not that uncommon. It's called rare. But I've seen all the other things that I mean, shit, I've got bamboo bow sticks coming out of my ears. There's one. There's one. I think I've given one or two away, but I've never once seen the shoulders. Tell me that's not a little sus, as the kids say. my my character was featured in the teaser for Monsters and Memories December playtest. Let me see if I can find it. Watch the replay, so I guess you were only temporarily alone. Oh yeah, no, and that's the thing. That's the saving grace is like as I'm doing this, I don't actually really I love to have people here to chat with during the stream, but I have an actual like small but an actual dedicated YouTube following that I'm here for as well. And YouTube guys, if you're listening, thank you because you guys keep me sane and uh you make it so even when there's nobody in here talking with me, like it still matters, right? Like it's still important that I provide like value and entertainment and all that. I will say that this my previous video is not that entertaining. I apologize. I will do better. I'm working on it. I can tell the streams when I watch replays, I can tell the streams where I like just woke up from a nap. And I probably need to stop doing that. I probably need to stream fresh, right? Let me see if I can find it where Gobneck is on the Monsters and Memories playtest video. There he is. We're going to switch over to the browser scene here. So here I am with, that's my goblin necro. Let's see, we'll go to right here and we'll just play it. There he is. It's like 1 second, right? But that's me, and then you can kind of see that's Dorian. And that's it, right? And then there's some other people. It's pretty cool. But there was a comment or a post on the Monsters and Memories subreddit about how, because we were playing with this guy named Dorpheus. He was a cleric, then Dorian was an enchanter, and then I was a necromancer. And we all were like met up in the game organically, like, hey man, you want to go on an adventure? Sure. And I made a video about it if you guys want to check that out. It's one of my Monsters and Memories videos. And we went down into this tomb and we got our butts kicked. And anyway, Dorpheus, he ended up leaving. I guess he got girlfriend aggro. And then he went later on and he made a post on the Monsters and Memories Reddit about how he had a good time with us and he was looking forward to the next playtest and he wanted to play with us again. Well, I made that video not having looked at the Monsters and Memories Reddit, and somebody put a comment on my video that was like, hey, someone made like almost like a Craigslist missed connections post on Monsters and Memories subreddit, and I checked it out. I was like, oh, that's crazy. That's me. And we'll probably end up meeting up. I need to shoot him a message on Reddit and ask him if he wants to continue the shenanigans. Oh my gosh, Michael Bolton singing Jingle Bells. I'm sorry, stream. I know normally I don't stream music, but I'm just gonna have to bring this in. Just stand by one here for Michael Bolton. If you have your own music, please mute it because this is glorious. Let me just bring it up just a little bit. It's so bad, it's good. It is. It's fucking hilarious. Oh man, I swore. I'm sorry. It's hilarious. My videos are marked as not made for kids, so we're okay. But yeah. Oh man. Thank you, Michael Bolton. How old is Michael Bolton? He is 70 years old. What a treasure. I hope we have him for another 10 years. He's getting after it here. I didn't realize how old he was till I saw a picture of him and I was like, "Oh goodness." That means that when he got, I guess, popular, I'm going to bring this down a little bit. I think that means when he got popular, he was probably already pretty old. How am I supposed to live without you? Let's see, what year was that? How? Oh, okay, 1982. Oh, he just wrote the song. But then wait, there he is. I'm confused. But yeah, had Michael Bublé on repeat. I think I'm gonna leave it for a little bit if you guys are alright with that. This is for comedic effect. YouTube viewers, I apologize if you want to follow along with the cringy music. Just play Michael Bolton's new Christmas album while you listen to my stream. I normally don't like to do music on the streams anymore. I feel like that was a reason why a lot of folks weren't sticking around. I could be wrong. Then again, I've had a lot of streams where folks don't stick around and it's no music, so probably not causal. Right? Correlation is not causation. Oh, I haven't turned on the game audio. Foolish. Foolish me. Let me fix that right now so you can hear the cackling skeleton noise and the spell noise. I'm actually going to bring it down just a hair, though. Kill him. Get him, pet. And yeah, this is going to be kind of a relaxed camp. I'll pull some extra things just so that they don't aggro when I don't want them to. But I'm not actually overly worried about like getting experience right now. And hopefully it is a good stream, like you said, Neutral Rockets. Hopefully I get the arms and then we can just move on. I think I will just move on to the what's his name? The Uwamp. If I get the arms, I don't think I'm gonna go to the Imprecator camp down here. Can I bind in here? I'm not sure. I wouldn't. I would never bind in here. Um, maybe the second floor, maybe, but like that's so risky. I would definitely not bind on the third floor. That's a terrible idea. Because how are you gonna get out? But trust me, I've thought about that. I don't say that in a like condescending way. I've actually considered binding in here. And then I was like, no, wait, I don't want to do that. Hey, I'm Kevin, what's up? Welcome to the stream. We're listening to a little Michael Bolton Christmas music. But if you guys get tired of it, just all you have to do is say the word and I'll turn it off, honestly. I don't want to monopolize if you guys like having other music to play. My mom used to call him Marble Mouth. That's interesting. So we're going to see in 6.5 minutes whether or not this guy respawns because I cast Screaming Terror on him and he literally disappeared. Like, she thought it sounded like he sang with marbles in his mouth. That's true. I can see it. I totally get it. Oh boy, this is Santa Claus is coming to town. Or wait. Is this it? Is this it? Yeah, it is. Okay. It's so bad. It's not bad. It's just hilarious because it's Michael Bolton. And hopefully you guys have a good Christmas season planned in your respective geographic areas. This is only allowed because it's nearly Christmas. Yeah, it's got to do something to spice it up. I still remember one of my first streams when I started streaming again back when I was still going by XHuck Nasty was I did a Smash Mouth singer tribute stream where I played Smash Mouth music and I had like him down here, a picture of what's his name, Steve Harwell. Kind of sad I only know his name now that he's dead. Here it comes. Just got to keep 2 nukes up on my bar here in case I get invokers or believer spawns, then I can nuke the crap out of them. I pretty much just nuke the crap out of everything because I don't have to worry about mana efficiency in this camp. And I'm like almost full. So I really, really hope we get these sleeves. Missed the double experience. Yeah, that was nice. I got from 35 to 40 on the double XP and then 40 to 41 on just camping gear and down near. I imagine they're going to run double XP again. I'm going to look that up right now. I don't see anything. I don't remember when they did. Or what they did the last. I don't know if I've actually played EQ at Christmas. Usually, what am I usually playing around Christmas time? Usually WoW. Went from 30 to 36 in a night and a half on my Chanter Cleric duo. That is pretty good. Yeah, those you can really make the most of those double XP events. You can rock it out. I mean, I went from 35 to 40. Hopefully they do double XP. If they do double drops, do they do that? Oh yeah, I agree, Kevin. Once you get a rogue pet, like as long as you can keep it, as long as you can keep from dying to it, you can make some serious experience. Chanter Cleric is a great duo. You've got the right setup there. Gave it a nullhide lariat. Nice. I had a MR ring somebody gave me that was worth like 1,000 plat, and I ended up losing it. I felt so bad. That was like 3-shotting everything. Yeah, that is pretty good. Sol A is a good zone too. It's got a good experience modifier. Neutral Rocket says, I'm missing the XP badly, currently in 45, and it is so slow. Yeah, I'm not looking forward to 45. Got him the Cleric ring. The ring for the Cleric Epic from Gimblocks. I was a coerced revenant. We need you to spawn the Crusader game. I need to decide if I really want to stay here and how long I want to stay here. Yeah, he's got the newbie robe, and then I've got the tattered tomb shroud. So I've gotten the robe from him. And I've gotten it to drop 2 or 3 times. So I just need the yeah, it's this pretty good robe. 2 int, 30 HP. That 30 HP is big. And I'm up to 118 intelligence. I just need the Crusader to spawn and drop the sleeves. And then we'll go move on to the Uwamp, get the face mask so I can get rid of this nasty thing. Getting close to single digit charisma. That's a goal. That is the goal. Very in character. Yeah, exactly. Mr. Best Friend. He's not the most personable character. Who's all in here? I'm the only one in here. I like that. There was like a group that was in here and they were like, we want the robe from this guy. And I was like, you can have the robe from that guy. I've already gotten it twice. Then they were pulling these guys out here. They were pulling all these guys right by me, and I was like, if you guys train me, I'm not going to be happy. Did they ask for tips about the dungeon? No, they seemed like they knew what they were doing. Not like that monk who was like, what do I do down here? How do I get out? And I was like, what floor are you on? Third? I was like, oh boy, you're in for a bad time. Luckily, they had a level 60 druid they could bring in here. I do feel very comfortable in this dungeon now, though. Like, too comfortable. Need to find a new dungeon. K-Sora. K-Sora will be the next mountain to climb. It is almost peaceful now. Like, this dungeon used to just scare me. And now I'm like, oh. Although that second floor is that second floor camp, the Lumpy Goose, the Imprecator, those camps can go die in a fire. Those were not fun times. Yeah, K-Sora doesn't seem too bad. I'm not super worried about that one. There's some gear I want to get out of there. Goes well with the Christmas vibes, huh? Yeah, this forgotten crypt of a merchant. That's usually the most popular of the forgotten Kunark dungeons. Yeah, because, like, what are the actual popular? KC, obviously, way popular. Let me do a slash who Karner all. There's only 12 in there now, but man, I think on double XP weekend I slash who'd KC and it was like too many to count. And you can see people come from all over to do Karners. I don't even see a single Ixar in there. There's one Ixar in there. Yeah, down there is deserted. I like it because it's just so quiet. Okay, as soon as these two mobs die, which this guy's trying really hard not to die, but he didn't try hard enough. I'm gonna go take my contacts out because my eyeballs are pretty dry. I think that is the end of the. I think that's the end of the album. I'm gonna let it play for a little bit. That's why I've been enjoying Blue, even though it's nearly dead. Yeah, I kind of wish, I really wish this character was on Blue. Like, I wish I could do a transfer, but I highly doubt they would do that. But I would have pretty much the pick of every zone if I was on Blue. There he is. Yeah, I would love to like transfer off of the server and just be on the dead server where I don't have to deal with anybody. I could have all the camps I wanted. Okay. We are going to take a quick break so I can take my contacts out, and I'll be right back, and then we'll be back for more down near Crusader camping. Okay, I'm back, and the question is, even once you're done with solo cell phone, would you still want to be on blue? I would say yes. I mean, it's not I don't have a huge interest in raiding. So like even if I'm done with the solo cell phone challenge, like I don't know what I'm going to do afterwards. And yeah, blue is just top heavy. It's still got people. I'm going to hide corpse looted. And we're going to go ahead and kill Michael Bolton. And yeah, the economy is probably not the best. But I don't know. When I'm done with this challenge, I'm probably just going to do a new challenge. I'm actually kind of in the process of deciding like what does life look like after Mr. Best Friend? And I do recognize I still have quite a ways to go. But this is good. It's been keeping me busy. If you did happen to want a group, it would just be raids. Yeah, I mean, it could work out in my favor. Like, if I do hit level 60 on Mr. Best Friend, which I do plan to do, I'll probably dip my foot in the end game of EQ casually. I won't be doing like bat phones or anything like that. But I've got other ideas. You know, there's other solo self-found challenges I could do. There's I'm trying to think. I had one idea. Oh, it would take a long time to do, but one of the ideas I've had is level up, get a bunch of raid gear, and then de-level myself all the way to 1 and do like a new game plus video series. But I would have to do that on like a warrior. But I think that would make a cool video game or video series. Like EQ, new game plus, and make an intro video, you know, like what would happen if a level 60 warrior woke up at level 1? And I do like a funny intro, kind of like how I did for Mr. Best Friend, and then follow his progress, his or her progress all the way back up. I don't know if I've got that in me though, because that involves me not only leveling all the way through, but then de-leveling, which won't take long, I would assume. I'm not sure how you would do that. Well, there's probably a really efficient place to do that, where I'd have to like bind myself, and I would probably have to like coordinate how to get out of there once the de-leveling is done. Obviously, put everything in the bank and then just bind yourself somewhere where you're gonna die a lot and really quickly. Then go retrieve all that gear and then do the leveling over again. Once you level to 60, the pain of de-leveling would be too much to bear. That is the other thing is you've already leveled that class to 60 once. So you already like kind of know it, and then you would have to level it again doing the exact same stuff. Death Spiral and Agog. What's the Death Spiral? Or you just mean like bind yourself, yeah, next to a I'd have to bind myself next to like a guard and then wait for however long it takes. And then I would have to have somebody help me get out of the death spiral, which I don't think would be difficult. Go grab a druid, have him throw a snare on the guard, and then just run for Guck or something. Or if you did it like in Grob, and then I could get away. I wouldn't be solo self found. I would do it just regular so I could group. People used to de-level like degenerates back on red. Yeah, I can believe that. Red, it's probably really fun for them to troll people. Oh, 9 minutes. Really hoping we get this crusader. I remember my first experience on red. I logged in, I had like a halfling druid or something, and within 5 minutes, somebody had noticed that I was online, brought a level 6 twink warrior out there, and wrecked me. And I was like, seriously? I'm a wholeheartedly believe that red does not accurately replicate how like Ralos Zek was back in the day. Because I played on Ralos Zek, not for long, and it was like there was some people grouping, there was some people PvPing, there was nobody like. There was one guy who was like semi-twinked, and I remember talking to him, and I was like, "How did you get twinked?" And he just got all his gear from like killing other players, which I thought was kind of cool. Red was one of the most degenerate private servers I've ever witnessed. For me, the one that takes the cake is there was a server back in the day for WoW class or Vanilla WoW. It was called Emerald Dream, and there was a fully like unashamed white supremacist guild on that server that would say their stuff in server chat and no one even batted an eye. Like it was that bad. They never got banned or anything. That was on red too. Oh my gosh, that's terrible. Oh yeah. Wow. Yeah, that's like that's not good. We don't need that. Go join a group in Idaho with the rest of your people. And when I say your people, I mean like your like-minded individuals and leave the rest of us alone. Holy smokes. I didn't play, but my friend's brother who we play blue with now lived on that server. Yeah, red's a failed experiment in my opinion. Nothing good happens there. Maybe some good things happen there. I don't know. I actually, when I first started, before I started this challenge, I was going to do it with my red Necro. Because I have a Necro on red that's like 29. And somebody was stream sniping me within like 20 minutes of me logging into red. Used to watch him and listen to his Ventrilo. Ventrilo. That's old school. Even when I grouped on P1999 Blue when it first came out, we were already moved on to like TeamSpeak. Yeah, Red's been around a while, you're right, like 10 plus years. My oldest character on Blue is from 2009. I'm proud of that. He's like a level 30 human mage. So the loot rules on Red are, I think you can loot. Oh, you can't loot a single item? I thought you could loot a single item. That's the rules on Rallo Sec. It's probably good though that you can't loot anything. May have been an item a super long time ago. Yeah, I don't know for sure. I've barely played on that server. Rallo Sec, you could loot an item because I knew there was like a level 12 shaman out in Field of Bone who had. He wasn't like uber swanked. He didn't have a fungi or anything, but he had like all this good stuff from like the lower Kunark dungeons. And I was like, how'd you get all that stuff? And he was like, oh, I just kill other players and take it. I was like, dude, that's kind of cool. Yellow text and poop socking raid bosses. I guess I did enjoy myself on Red for a short time. Ah, goodness, 1 second. Sorry about that. I had a really good run outside today, but the pollen count here is just insane. Anytime I run outside, it seems like I get just wrecked. Yeah, the whole server got a yellow text message telling you who was killed by who. And I think there was or there is a server-wide chat as well because the server has got a grand total of like 30 people playing. There was. Did they get tired of moderating it? I know like at one point that chat was so like contentious that GMs were constantly like in that chat and muting people. I think I even got muted for something that I was like, "What?" Like I didn't think it was even that what I said was even like mutable at all or else I wouldn't have said it and they were like, "You're muted too." And I was like, "Jeez." The mods were absolute degenerates. One of the GMs was found to be in the Hollow Guild. Oh my gosh. The controversy. So P99, I love it. I think it's the best classic EQ experience out there. But yeah, there is a lot of controversy about GMs in this on these servers. Who is that guy? Sirkin? I'm sure. I highly doubt he's a mod anymore. I think Sirkin got wrapped up in some controversy. I don't remember exactly what, so I don't want to say and spread false info, but there was something there with him. Yeah, P99 has had like that'd be a fun video actually. So I know for sure there was oh man, a follower, really? This game is just killing me. There was player in Fires of Heaven, I want to say was the guild. Or no, he was in Flowers of Happiness, which I think is like the Fires of Heaven P1999 spinoff guild, or it was. And he unfortunately like intentionally got a cop to shoot him, and people started using his name as a euphemism for like suicide. And it was like a common thing on the server for people to say that. And I was like, geez. And then I know there was a controversy of a player selling their Adderall for platinum. Like that happened. So yeah, there's been a fair amount of controversy on P1999. But it's still a good server to play on. Like I'm especially solo self found, like I don't interact with the economy at all, so as long as this is a box that I can connect to, I'm not worried about it. But yeah, I definitely feel like the economy is not pure, if you will. There's probably been some duped items. There's probably been some duped platinum. But you can't change that now, and it's still a good place to play. Yeah, if you have a couple friends who play, you don't need an economy. I just think the overall like server experience on P1999 is pretty good. And you mentioned Quorum earlier, Kevin, and I'm like honestly surprised that it's as popular as it is. If they're, I haven't experienced it for myself, so I shouldn't be too judgmental. But I just know like if the camera doesn't work, that just seems like a basic quality of life thing that I just wouldn't be able to get over. Especially if there's a server here that works. You've been around WoW P servers for a while. Yeah, I would say yes. I played a lot of P servers, mainly vanilla. I never got into like the TBC or the um Wrath ones. I've only played vanilla. The fresh, yeah, exactly. Like that was the thing that killed me about WoW Classic or vanilla WoW private servers was like you would play on a server and invest in it, and then the next like one day, just out of the blue, you'd log in and everybody was gone. Classic EQ doesn't have the server turnover that WoW does. Yeah, it was really bad for a while. Everybody wanted fresh, 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 and it's like just make an alt, just roll an alt and keep raiding with your guild. There's only like 4 raids. Yeah, classic EQ doesn't have that turnover. It was really bad for a while where servers were just left and right. Elysium, Lights Hope, Kronos, Nostalrius, they were all just here today, gone tomorrow. Kronos stuck around pretty good. That's why I played on Kronos. Any new decent server will catch people's attention. Yeah, I feel like Quorum is just simply because P1999 Green is so stale now or so old. Like 4 years is longer than the original classic EQ timeline because we got Shadows of Luclin in what 2001. I'm gonna look that up. December 4th, 2001. So like, I think EverQuest came out in was it March or April? March 16th, 1999 to December. So 2.5 years, or 2 years and like 9 months. So once you exceed that timeline, you've already gone past what like the original design was intended for. Blue was crazy because Blue came out I think in 2009, late 2009, and I want to say by like 2010, sometime in 2010, maybe 2011, I feel like we had Kunark. And then the server stayed in Kunark for like 4 or 5 years. Like it took forever for Velius to come out. So you had this like really weird economy. And then when Velius came out, it wasn't even a challenge because everybody had been raiding Kunark for so long, they were all just fully geared up. And then they went in and just completely steamrolled Velius. Look at what happened with green. It was so popular they had to open a second one. Yeah, there was green and teal. I didn't play at that time. I didn't get into green until after it had kind of calmed down. Teal was weird. I never played on. What was weird about it? I'm actually curious to know. I don't think I've met anybody that's got any firsthand experience with it. I know it's really weird to go on the wiki and see like uh teal prices. Everyone had just restarted on green. Was it one of those things where you could move your character from green to teal, or was it just like you had to go get on teal? It was so packed, a lot of people didn't want to restart. Okay, so like it was an option for latecomers, really, but if you're level 10 or 12, like I know for me, the first probably 20 levels of EQ, I just don't like. Until your character starts feeling like fleshed out and has tools and abilities to use, like those first 20 levels for me are just like, ugh. It was like an offset server that felt like you were missing out on the true fun. Yeah, I could see it. Everybody knew it was like a temporary thing. Probably cool if you could get up to like camping some of the stuff that you knew was going to be worth a lot. I don't know what the timeline on Teal was, like how long it was up before they merged it. One of our ultra sweaty friends got a guys on Teal, so they at least got up to guys level. I think that camp is what, level 40 something you got to be before you can really camp lower Guck. I know I got a guys on Agnar. We had several guys as like I was in a group that ended up with two or three. We were kind of all grouped up together over a handful of nights because we just kept playing around the same time, and we had a handful of people get guyses. The one I want is the pre-nerf COS. He was playing nonstop. I didn't know him in real life, but he supposedly had just gotten laid off for COVID. Yeah. COVID was a weird time, man. I played WoW Classic like it was my job. And I had a job. I kept calling my job and being like, "Do you want me to do anything? You want me to come back?" You have a pre-nerf. Yeah, that's right. You've mentioned that to me. That's so cool. How much is a pre-nerf COS? I'm gonna look at this. Circlet of Shadows. 35K. 31 to 30, like 30 to 35K. Yeah, it's probably like blue. This is one of those items where it's more on blue because of the age of the server. Because all the players who, especially blue, like I'll tell you, even back then, people didn't. We were all kind of coming back to classic EQ for the first time. And so some people were like, yeah, Mana Stone, Circle to Shadows, get that stuff. It wasn't like on green where everybody was like, form lines for your Mana Stones, please. Like there was only a handful of people that really knew to get that stuff. And then yeah, you probably had people on green that just like Neutral Rocket said that were like, these will be worth a lot in 5 years, so I'm gonna over farm these. But back in the blue days, it was like I don't know, a lot of people were just kind of like, "Whoa, we're back in EQ. This is crazy." Like I thought it was really cool on blue. I actually ran into a guy I played with on regular EQ on my old school EQ server. We have so much stuff on green, it's silly, and now none of us play there. Yeah, I ran into this Ixar Shadow Knight on blue, and I recognized his name, and I was like, "Did you play on Brel Surlis?" He was like, "Oh yeah." I was like, "That's crazy." And actually, not that long ago, probably 6 months to a year ago, I decided to play on retail again just for I was bored. I didn't sub to an account or anything. And one of the like I don't know, 10 people that was online on the server, I'm exaggerating a little bit, but one of those people was a guy I recognized. And I saw him in Plane of Knowledge, the big hub zone. And I was like, "Hey man, you played in like 2001, didn't you?" And he was like, "Yeah." I was like, "Dude, like same dude." Recognized his name 21 years later. Pretty crazy. We're like for most of us that are in our late 30s, we're the generation that really grew up on the internet. I was thinking about it like I feel really blessed because my generation is the last generation to know what it was like to not always be online. Like that stopped shortly after I grew up. Like I still remember 2004 Hurricane Katrina. Some dude actually had like a live feed of downtown New Orleans, and that was the first time I'd ever seen anything like that, right? And nowadays, everybody's just gonna be out everywhere doing this, but back then it was like, I was 18, I was working in a kitchen washing dishes, and I would go home and log into this website and watch what it looked like, and you could see like people walking down the street, cop cars driving around. Imagine trying to go anywhere without a smartphone to tell you the way. I saw a super funny video where a guy was like, the heading on the video was like, people these days are so distracted while driving, and then it's this dude fumbling through like the 40 pack CD, like big old CD binder, like trying to find a CD, and then he's like holding up his MapQuest directions. I'm like, dude, that's so true. Like it was probably actually less safe because we were freaking messing around with CDs and MapQuest and all that. I still remember my friend's childhood house landline. Me too. There's two numbers that I still remember and could recite to this day. Do you remember just like showing up to somebody's house? Like that was a thing. Now if somebody showed up to my house, I'd be like, "What the hell are you doing here? Like, why didn't you text me?" You remember when you just like go to somebody's house? And I'm talking even as an adult. Like even as an adult before smartphones, I'd be like, "Oh, I'm in the neighborhood. Let me pop on by. What's up, man? Not much." It was like a normal thing to just pop in on somebody in the summer. Parents, friends doing that. Yeah, like my family would do that all the time. I had kind of a big family, and they would just be like, "Yeah, we were up in town," because they were kind of spread out amongst like the, I don't know, 3 or 4 towns that were within a probably about an hour drive. And they would just show up and be like, yeah, we were up here doing this. And we thought we'd stop by. And you're just like, yeah, we're cooking dinner. Yeah, now if you show up to someone's place unannounced and you'd be like, what planet are you on that you think you can come to my house without sending me an Instagram message, tweeting about it, making a Facebook event, and sending me a Gmail as well as a text? It's crazy, isn't it? The world's so different. And it was not that long ago. But don't call because that would be creepy. Yeah, like who calls? I mean, I still get calls for work, but yeah, most people like I don't just get a rando call. And usually, if you want to call somebody, you text them first, and you're like, "Hey, can I call you?" There's never like a just a rando out of the blue call. Sorry, the pollen has got me struggling here. I'm loving all the chat though. This is fun. 99% of calls I get are spam. Yeah, exactly. You don't even answer them anymore because you're like, who do I know in Nebraska? Nobody. Okay. AOL Instant Messenger. I get a lot of those wrong number scam texts like, "Hey John, it's Cindy, the beautiful 21-year-old Japanese model slash crypto trader." And I'm like, they want you to be like, "Oh, I'm not John," and they'll be like, "Oh, perhaps it is fate that we met," and I'm like, "Shut up." I like to mess with them. ICQ and MSN Messenger. Yeah, I used all of them. I used ICQ, MSN, and you know what? I'm not pulling these guys because I don't know when these next dudes are gonna spawn. So ICQ was like first for me, and then it went to MSN, and then I got AOL when I started playing a certain online video game, and there was more people on AOL on that they would use that. ICQ was so weird because you didn't get to choose your username. You got assigned like a random string of 9 or 10 numbers, and that was your username. That was back when people were like, "I need to be anonymous online." Now, like, people submit their DNA. Yeah, look at my DNA. Tell me things. AOL was huge when I was in middle school. 33. Yeah, we were on MSN. MSN was the big one for. I think it just depends on like the school you were in. Yeah, we would all do the same thing. We'd get home from school. For me, I'm a little bit older, so middle school we weren't quite on that train. And then high school though, high school was like everybody would just get online as soon as they got home and like make these huge group messages and start chatting. But I was lucky because I never like Facebook was never a thing. MySpace wasn't even a thing. MySpace didn't become a thing until after I graduated. It was probably like a thing, but we didn't know about it. We weren't all plugged in on MySpace. And I still remember the first text message that I ever got on my like little, it wasn't even a flip phone. It was the one like it was just a phone. Sorry, my timer's going off. It was just a phone that was like a little brick, and with the antenna that you like pulled out. It wasn't a Nokia, it was like some knockoff Nokia. I don't remember. I think I did have a Motorola with the antenna would pull out and then oh, that's right. The one that I got the text message on was gray and it did not have the antenna. The antenna was like a little nub. You didn't have to mess with it. But anyway, I got this text message and I was like, what the hell is this? And in the text message, the guy explained why he was texting because it was so out of character to text back then. He was like, yeah, I'm texting because my phone won't let me place calls. Like, my phone's broken. But he's like, party at so and so's house or whatever. Like, that's the state of what communication was back then, where if you texted somebody, you explained to them that you were texting. And yeah, exactly, because you would get charged. So, like, I'm sure I got charged the 10 cents or whatever. Oh, goodness. That guy hit me double for 65. Yeah, the minutes. Oh my gosh, I got in trouble because I went over the minutes. Oh, great. It's a course revenant. I love to see those. Let's see. He didn't disappear this time. Got grounded every other week because he blasted through the minutes. That's funny. I don't remember having issues with the minutes until a little bit later, and then I was on like one of my other family members' phone plans for a specific reason that I don't really care to get into because I had moved, and then I went over the minutes on his plan, and I felt really bad, and then had to like kind of not do that anymore because he was not happy. So we had the landline when I was younger, and we were lucky enough to have two because my dad was like big in the internet. You know, like he worked for an ISP, and so we had internet. I mean, shoot, I had internet probably before almost anybody in the town I lived in, and it wasn't a big town, so it's not really saying much. But we had internet starting in like 1994 or five because my dad worked for an ISP, and so he was like, "Check this out." You know, he was all about it. But he had actually worked on the internet when it was like the army used it, like before it was really the internet. Like he was like an army supply guy or something, and they would send their database like across the internet. But he said you would literally call the other base long distance through DSN or whatever and be like, "Hey, we're sending the database." You couldn't just, it wasn't like now where you're just like, "Send the email." Okay. I don't call my boss and be like, "Did you get my email?" Unless I really needed him to see that email. Like I assumed that it made it there. But back then he said he would pick up the phone and be like, "We're sending the database, keep an eye out for it." Because sometimes it like wouldn't make it when they were sending it from base to base. Used to watch Raw SmackDown on the phone with two buddies on a three-way call. Yeah. I remember the three-way calls. The party, we call it party line. Yeah, we had two phone lines, so I was pretty lucky because as long as I wasn't using the internet and nobody else in my house wanted to use the internet, then I could be on the phone. And then similar to the early internet, as soon as broadband was available, my dad was like, "We're getting that." And I remember I was downloading like Napster. Don't sue me, uh, Napster people or RIAA. I was like doing a lot of Napster back in the day, and it was so slow. It'd take like 2 hours to download one song. And I got broadband, and my dad was like, "Yeah, we're getting broadband installed today." And as soon as I got home from school, I thought it was crazy that I could just open up internet and it was there, which is such a weird thing to think about now. Of like, yeah, when I click Google Chrome, I expect it to be like Google. But if you try to open Internet Explorer before and you weren't dialed in, it was like, nope, 404 not found. So one, I thought it was crazy that I could just click the internet button and it was like, bing, the internet is here. And then two, I went on Napster and I like downloaded a song and it was like boop 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 boop, and I was like, oh, like, and it was like the mouse hitting the button for the morphine or whatever. It was like download, download, download. I mean, it got so bad to the point where I would find users that had the same music taste as me, and it was on a different program. You could right click their name and just download their entire library. So I just like right click it and be like, download all this crap, and it would just run. My dad eventually got a second because me and my sisters would always be clogging the line. Yep, Napster and LimeWire. I was a Napster, then skipped LimeWire and did WinMX, and WinMX carried me through till the days of now streaming music. I remember watching something download at 300 kilobytes a second. Yeah, exactly. It was like, oh my gosh. It was done, in 30 seconds or less. DSL cable is like a work of God. Yeah. Songs in seconds. Yeah, it was like amazing that you're like, before I would have to plan out like, okay, what songs do I want to download tonight? And my ISP would disconnect you after 2 hours. So you had a hard limit of what you could actually download. Because back then it wasn't like now where if it gets disconnected in the middle of it, it's like, where was I? Oh, I was here, and it keeps downloading. You had like 2 hours and downloaded at what, 56K, and so there was like a certain set amount you could get in before you knew you were going to get disconnected. And sometimes it would be like down to the wire, like you're watching it and you're like, come on, come on, come on, like hoping that it finishes before the ISP disconnects you. Try to open a big picture. We all know what that was. I remember those days too. You're like, here comes one, here comes the next one. Yeah. Yeah, I would like plan it out. I'd be like, okay, tonight I'm gonna download this song and this song, and you maybe get one of them. And then as soon as cable internet came out, it was all over. I was downloading nonstop, all day long, every day, to the point where I had like a full hard drive, not enough storage space to even download anymore. And I still wish, to this day, I wish I had my actual old Winamp playlist, because I would always have to do two things when I started playing EQ. Before I could start EQ up, I would have to start Winamp up and click play. And then I would have to flip over to EQ and start EQ up. One was a ghost woman holding a head that said it was going to haunt me forever if I didn't resend it to 20 people, but I didn't know 20 people. That's so funny. Had nightmares for weeks. Yeah, you couldn't, once EQ was up, back in the day, you couldn't alt tab out of it. At least not on my computer. It was full screen, and if you tried to alt tab, it would just stop working. And the load times were so long that you didn't want to do that. Like, it wasn't like now where you're like, ah, shoot, I crashed. Okay, give me a minute and I'll be back in. It would take my computer like 15, 20 minutes to load EQ in and get me into the zone. And like the zones would take sometimes like 5 minutes to reload. Like if I had to zone a mob, it wasn't like it is now where you're like, ah, crap, I got to zone this mob. Let me run through. You were like doing everything you could to not have to zone that mob because you knew it was going to take so long to get you through the zone. And sometimes I would die at the zone line because it would load my character into the zone, but it wouldn't let me do anything. It was still showing the loading screen even though my dude was just standing there. And then I'd get another zone. Like then I'd have another zone to wait through, and I would pop up at my bind point and be like super confused. And I'd go back to that spot and be like, "Oh shoot, I died at the zone line." I remember waking up and sneaking at like 5 a.m. to play EQ, and would it there in fear would sit there in fear while the dial-up made the connection sound. I remember that too. You're like, come on, quiet, quiet. And it's like, Peter. I had a computer that was so loud. My like kid brain solution was take like a comforter, like a blanket, and wrap it around and wrap it around the computer so my parents couldn't hear it. But that like caused the whole computer to overheat, and it really didn't like that. But I was like, oh yeah, they can't hear it. Let me just wrap this blanket around it. Whoops. No wonder that computer tanked on me like really quick. It was like a hand me down. Like a hand me down computer, I think. My dad would get like computers from work that they didn't want anymore, and then we would like cobble together a Franken computer from like our old computers. It was like a little monster garage for computers in my house. Like other people's dads showed them how to fix cars or whatever. My dad taught me how to like mess with computers because that's what he did when he was in the army. Very lucky. Yeah, no, for real. Like I built a 286 when I was like 10 or 11 years old. He was like, "Here, son, here's a box of parts. You need to do this, 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 and this. Let me know if you have any questions." I was like, "Oh, okay." And I went down to my basement and like, all right, here's the motherboard. Here's the freaking uh the RAM. Probably like 256K of RAM or some stupidly low amount. The processor was already in the motherboard. I never fitted a processor to a motherboard till later. Um, I don't. We didn't have video cards really back then. Yeah, they weren't plug and play. You had to. There was a couple things you had to do when you got the hard drive in. You had to select. You had to put a little jumper on the motherboard to tell it which like IDE controller to control which hard drive or whatever. Uh, what else? I think the RAM too. I think you had to do something with the jumpers with the RAM where you had to tell it how much RAM it was looking for, or else it would not know and not boot up properly. I could be wrong on that one, but I feel like that was a thing. Our first was a terrible Windows 95, then my dad upgraded to Windows ME. Whoops. That he bought out the TV. Whoops. XP was great. XP Service Pack 2 or Service Pack 3, like top 5 all time. I don't know. I feel like Windows 11. I don't. Maybe you guys are gonna shoot me for this, but like Windows 11's pretty good. I don't have any issues with it. I don't like that they change things. Like I'll tell you what I don't like is that now cut and paste is no longer in the act. When you right click something and you want to cut or paste, it's like little pictures now, and I'm like, what the hell is this? We're not. This isn't an iPad. Like I know what cut and paste is. Just let me click cut. P99 works on Windows 11. Yeah, I'm doing it right now. Pretty sure I have Windows 11. Still on 10. I mean, I'll look. Oh, look, he's got the Cloud Strife Buster sword. We're totally giving that to our pet. I never realized this sword is almost like see-through. Yeah, I've got one in my bag actually. I think I can't even loot that. Where are you going? I'm gonna root you. Oh, there's the sleeves, guys. Not. Yeah, I can't loot it. Here, we'll give it to Kobobtik. Yeah, look at that. Oh wait, I think that was actually gonna nerf his damage. Whoops. Oh well. Like we like really really need the. What was the pet's name? The one with the Buster Sword? Yeah, I forget his name. He was a good boy though. He was all decked out. Those were tough times out there in that Sarnak fort, man. Remember when I like couldn't even kill the Sarnaks? Like every fight was like a 1v1 duel to the death. But I'm out there like I need this dagger, and then I just ended up doing this. I just ended up going and buying it from a vendor for 200 plat. The Ravenous Nibbler. Yeah, I think that actually nerfed his damage. I don't know. I could be wrong. I'm not like super worried about it though. This is not a hard camp. He's hitting twice, but I think he doesn't. He's now not dual wielding. I didn't really think that through. Give him two. That would look really cool, but I think those are worth like 40 plat, so I don't want to. I don't want to nerf my pocket change, even though I've made a ton of money in the last couple weeks. All right, I gotta be right back real quick, probably less than 5 minutes, and then we'll camp more of the Crusader. All right, I'm back. Do I have a torch? It would work, and I don't. I need to buy some more. They're actually not. One, they're not expensive. Two, they're not heavy, so there's really no reason not to have them. Womp womp, yeah. Luckily, I'm not out here big game hunting. I'm not trying to fight the overseer, so I think my pet gets fashion points, which are more important than power points. Yeah, style points count double. It actually increases your DPS. He was a little self-conscious about his style before because he didn't have any weapons. So, like literally, as soon as I sat back down, he was like, "Thank you," because he knows he's on camera. So he's kind of like self-conscious. Shield works too. Yeah, anything that is secondary only, from what I understand. So as long as it says, if you look at an item, as long as it does not say primary, if it says secondary and no primary, then you can give it to the pet. And then but the important thing is you give that to him first, and then you give him the two-hander second. If you give the two-hander to him and then try to give the torch to him, it's not gonna, or a shield, it's not gonna work. You bricked your pet. You bricked your pet. Yeah, if this was a hard camp, I might be like, oh no, I need to resummon him. But this is like, I don't. The damage is not consequential, and it's crazy because I'm up to 16% towards the level. So like, I don't know how I'm still getting this experience. Obviously, it's not efficient experience, but it's still moving, and I'm like okay with that because my old school EQ brain is like any experience is good experience, and I'm not really used to power gaming this game that much. So if I give him the second two-hander, he just eats it. I would think so, and here's why. It's a lore item. And I feel like even pets adhere to the lore item aspect. Because I've experimented with something else. I can't remember what. I've tried to give him two of a lore item, and he takes it, but he doesn't, like, you don't see it in his hands. So my guess is if I gave that to him, he's not gonna be. Although that would be like that would be so cool. We need to do that. We need to find a. Where is he? Oh, look, he was like hiding down there. How? Yeah, you don't have to be shy. It's okay. They're nice. No, they're nice. Come on up. Stand up. There we go. Yeah. How cool would it look if he had two of these? So what I'm thinking is that we need to do some research as a team here, as a stream, and find a like the coolest way to trick out our pet and make him look like super awesome. I feel like two of those is pretty dang close to like the coolest he can look. I don't understand why they made this sword so cool looking and they gave it these stats. 8 damage, 34 delay. So not even a good ratio, right? Like the fighting baton that looks like just a little orange stick with some jewels in it is an 820. And it's got 20 HP, which is okay, and then 10 magic resist, which is good, but not like the ratio is what matters. So it's totally weird. That's like this one here is a 1540, so that's probably better than the 836, I'm gonna guess. And this thing doesn't even look nearly as cool. So I don't know. I don't know what they were thinking. Always have a torch, so I've never actually tried giving a pet double two-handers. Yeah, I need a. Oh man, game, you're killing me. You're killing me here with this. Cly cohort. I haven't even seen hour and a half I've been on. I haven't even seen the Crusader once. The backstory on these arms, though, is that they are probably. I think there's one other set of arms in Kunark that drops somewhere in KC that aren't even as good as these. Like, so being Kunark only, these are probably like best in slot arms that I can get, which is why we're here. And we've been, I mean, shoot, I'm probably going on 8-10 hours camping this thing. So I feel committed at this point to just see it through and just get it done. But jeez, the saving grace is I am actually getting experience. So even if it's tedious, like it's tedious, but the bar is moving, and I've made. I mean, shoot, this is all the stuff I've got. The Parados are worth double-digit plat. This thing's worth 40. Like I'm gonna walk out of here with probably 61 in just plat drops, 120 in gold drops. Probably gonna walk out of here with about 400 plat. Which is not bad for me. How many Crusaders have I seen? Probably, my guess is on the high side up to about 12 to 13. On the low side, maybe 9 to 10, somewhere in that range. I haven't been keeping track. I probably should. I've seen enough Crusaders that I have at least 2 bamboo bow sticks here in my inventory. I have another bamboo bow stick in my bank, and I've given another one away. So I've seen at least 4 bamboo bow sticks. The bronze warhammer, I've seen that more times than the bamboo bow sticks. I just don't grab them because they're not worth carrying. I've only got the bow sticks to give away to like newbie monks when I go back to Field of Bone. I'm gonna just have a little giveaway for some weapons and stuff. Sort of wish I had gotten another fighting baton because you can dual wield those, and I would give them to a monk and make him happy. But even one fighting baton, that'd make a little monk happy. Yeah, I've got a bunch of these, what, 3 of these pendants. Oh, I got this robe of the Fochai. That's worth like 300 plat, supposedly, according to the wiki. I'm gonna have to do a lot of work on my bank when I get out of here because my bank is miserably full. Trying to do some sorting here. I've got, ooh, it's a believer. I've got like, I forgot where I was going with this because the believer distracted me. Look at all those spells you gotta cast on this guy to get him down because of his heals. Interesting robe. Enchanter only makes it weird since things like Robe of the Ishva, yeah. It's a 4 int, 25 mana. Those are the stats that the enchanter cares about. Really high AC though, if you look. 10 AC, that's, I feel like that's on the high side. This one here that I've got, it's only AC 5. Enchanters just get hooked up, man. So here's the interesting thing about this camp. So I jumped from, let me make sure I'm saying it right. Yep, 16 to 18% experience on that one mob. So I probably got about 1.5%. Because you have the ability to just med between all these pulls, you actually get decent experience because you can out damage your pet on every single pull. Although, like on this nibbler, I'm not even gonna bother. Like, I think he's he's a green, but they don't have enough health for me to try to like chain cast. Usually the good robes are around 8 to 10. So I feel committed now to my Necro on monsters and memories. I was gonna re-roll, but my Necro was in the teaser video, and there's been like Reddit posts about my Necro, so I don't want to like give up on the Necro. Oh no, there was an earring. Oh well, it's not really that big of a deal. Yeah, so during the last playtest, I formed a group with 2 other players, like kind of organically, and one of them made like a misconnections type post on there, um, and then I talked about it in a video on that playtest, the video on the playtest, and then somebody commented on the video and was like, "Hey, did you know someone made a post about this?" And I was like, "Oh no, I didn't know that." So I went and checked it out, and I was like, "Oh, that's cool." I think on this playtest, I'm actually gonna focus on playing the game. Like, I'm not gonna grind super hard. I'm not gonna go all sweaty and be like, I'm gonna be level 20 by the end of this playtest. But I am gonna like try to get some levels and try to get some gear and some spells. Because right now I'm only level 3. Yeah, seeing more spots in the game would be cool. I totally agree. Like, I want to get into an actual like good group that is doing that Tomb of the Last Wormsbane and see if I can't get some like good dungeon experience there. Look at this. My pet's so good. He can swing his sword this way and hit the enemy. Oh, then he turned around. The characters are carrying over for now. I don't know at what point what they're going to do. Like a reset. I'm not sure. I think it would be neat if they found a way to recognize the people who participated in the playtest, whether with like a legacy item or something that you can show other players later on down the road and be like, yeah, I was there when this thing was like, when the rubber banding was crazy and the frames were like 4 per second, when stuff would kill you before you even realized it. So, I mean, ideally they do something to recognize you, but I don't think, because of how they're doing these playtests, they're spawning like they spawned a dragon that everybody took down and people got like dragon loot, and I don't know if that's like really, if you let people keep their characters, that's, I don't know if that's good. Spellblade was really cool. Yeah, I watched the whole class video and it sounds like what they're doing is they're taking the basis of EQ. They're tweaking individual classes to give them more like, so like rogue, I'll just use this. Rogues are going to have a little bit more kind of like how a WoW rogue is versus an EQ rogue that just, it's a backstab bot. They're tweaking the classes to give them like more stuff and changing some familiar things, but then they're also adding new classes like the Spellblade, who's like more like a wizard slash warrior hybrid with some, I think, damage shields or shielding is kind of their thing, if I remember right. They definitely won't let you keep them when the game releases, but for alpha beta testing, it doesn't really matter. Yeah, and so for right now, everybody's crammed in that level 1 kind of area, but at some point, if they want to do beta testing of higher level areas, they're going to have to consider like, do we give people level 50 characters? Do we give people level 40, whatever the number is? Yeah, they'll have to have some tests where they start at a higher level because people are not. I know for me, like when I play this playtest, I'm not out there going like, this is a forever thing. Let me grind as many levels as I can and try to get rich or whatever. I'm just like, oh, cool, what's over here? Oh, neat, they added this. And it's actually really cathartic. Like, it's a super enjoyable gameplay experience because you're not always working on something. And it's kind of nice to not, like, really care. Yeah, the main focus is data collection, exactly. So for me, there's no, like, rat race. Some people are rat racing, man. I'm like, what are you guys doing? This is all going to get reset. But I should try to level to, like, stream more of the game versus like I've already done the run around Knights Harbor. I've already caught good like screen grabs and footage of Knights Harbor, Night Harbor. I keep calling it Knights Harbor. What I want to do now is try to get. I think ideally by the end of this playtest, I'm level 8. I think that's a good goal. Uh, I'll have 2 spell levels under my belt, so level 4 spells, level 8 spells. I think that'll help kind of give me a good idea of what it's really like. It's fun to just see the game. Yeah, I don't mind what they want us to do or where they start us. Exactly. Like it's just it's exciting. It's small right now, but it's growing. I've noticed that like the subreddit has jumped, I think almost doubled since the first playtest I participated in November. So like it's catching on. I think not Pantheon not delivering has got a lot of people interested in this. And the funny thing is, this team, this small indie team, has shown people more gameplay, more substance than Pantheon did in 10 years, and they've done it in like a year or two. I think about a year, year and a half. And then yeah, the transparency, that's so huge. Like I was listening to a loving robot, one of his streams the other day, and he was talking like somebody was like, "Will you release the code to show how you did this?" And he was like, "Well, I'll check with Ollie, I think, is the guy who's working on that specific thing." He's like, "But I'm pretty sure we don't have a problem with it because we're not." worried about like, oh, we're gonna show our trade secrets or whatever. Like they're not they don't care. And hopefully that's a good. I think it's a good position from the outside, but I'm not a game developer. I don't catch his streams often, but Sean is such a genuinely nice dude who really cares about making a good game. Exactly. Like I'm telling you, when you get a game that is made by gamers for gamers, like, and they're indie, so they don't have a like a publisher that's like, you need to ship this now, or you need to put a cash shop in, or you need to make this more accessible. Like, there's a big enough niche of us out there, classic MMO players who grew up playing EQ, Ultima Online, whatever. That we and I talk about this in my video. If you guys want to check it out, it's the latest video on my YouTube channel where I talk about like, if you're like me, you're probably like disillusioned with the current MMO market, and you're going like, you've like given up hope. You're like, I don't, they don't make games for me anymore. I've said that a million times on stream. Like they don't make games for me. At least big companies don't. And I caught on to this about 10 years ago when indie developers really started getting traction. Like Steam had kind of that indie renaissance back in the mid 2010s, about 2013 or so. It seemed like everybody was a ton of indie games were coming out, and I was like, oh, thank God, like because AAA games, that period where AAA games got crappy and indie games were not really there yet was like a dark time for me where I was like, dude, where are the games that I like? Like where's the games that are hard? Where's the games that are before Dark Souls was really like huge and changed everything, and then everybody wanted to be hard because it was so cool to be hard. It was like a dark time. I call those like the Oblivion years. I feel like Oblivion is the biggest example of that, where like they took this IP that I'd known and grown up with and loved, and it had depth and it had difficulty, and then Oblivion did have difficulty, don't get me wrong, but they like dumbed it down so that, the frat boys could play it. Like everybody played Oblivion, and they because they dumbed it down to the point. Don't you dare! Yeah, we got an Oblivion fanboy in here. I'm just not a fan. I feel like they took the formula. I mean, in Daggerfall, you could learn languages. Like you could spend all your character points on learning how to speak dragon. Where did that go? And I get it. Like Morrowind started it. It started sliding, but Morrowind was still like a good middle ground between like old school RPGs and the new. And then Oblivion took all of that and they were like, yeah, we don't need any of that anymore. That's just my opinion, but I'm not trying to offend you. I recognize Oblivion. I'll say this: I recognize Oblivion as a good game. Kind of like how I recognize Diablo 3 as a good game. Like I feel like Diablo 3 and Oblivion are objectively good games. Like they work good, the graphics look good, the music is good, the gameplay is good, but it's just missing that like the magic that made those older games, like the stuff that I grew up with. It shifted too far away from like the formula. I was like 14. Yeah, everybody was in on Oblivion when it came out. Like it was the most talked about game in the military like shop that I was in. Oh, you played Morrowind after Oblivion. That was probably weird. You're probably like, "What is this?" Begged my parents for Oblivion for Christmas. Yeah. I feel like you can't go in reverse there. If you played Oblivion before Morrowind, you probably were like, "This game's weird. Why are there giant mushrooms everywhere? How come everybody doesn't look the same?" And then you crush my childhood dreams. I'm so sorry. Hey, I've got games like that like I like them simply because I played them when I was a kid, and I feel like EQ is past that. I think EQ is a good game. It's a quirky game. It has its faults. I'm definitely not here for nostalgia. Oh, yeah, I know you're joking, Kevin. No, it's funny. It's good stream conversation. I will say that. Yeah, I feel like EQ. I'm not here for nostalgia. Like I never went to down near once on EQ. Like I'm not doing this for nostalgia. And at that point, that's when I think, okay, it's actually good. It's not just rose-colored glasses. But I have games like that too, where I like it just because I played it when I was a kid, and I recognize that it's like kind of, which, like I said, Oblivion I do think is actually a good game, but I have games that are not good games that I still play just because I played them when I was a kid. I have zero EQ nostalgia. Yeah, there's a lot of people out there that have just tried this on P99 and they just like the formula. And the crazy thing is this formula was built on text-based games. And that's what a lot of people don't realize. The whole like support classes, utility, crowd control, like tank healer damage, uh, I mean, even down to like the spells you have memorized, this was a mechanic on text based games that inspired EQ, like Sojourn. Like, you didn't have the ability to cast every one of your spells as unlimited times on Sojourn. Neutral Rocket says, I came back for nostalgia and then decided this was better than anything else right now anyway. Yeah, I agree. That was kind of that was how I got started on P99 was, oh, it's so nostalgic. Here's Kinos again. Here's people grouping in Black Burrow. Here's Crushbone, Orc Hill. Those are like the nostalgia zones for me. But now, like, I don't just play the game and go to those zones and then be like, that was cool. Like, I stick around because it's better. It's weird though. I kind of have nostalgia because I watched my friends bro play a ton growing up. Yeah, you have the nostalgia for the time period and having seen it but not experienced it. All right, we're about to get a spawn. Let's see what it is. I better tee up Shock of Poison so I can nuke him down. Yeah, the PC in the living room. Oh my gosh. That was me with like Mech Warrior. When I played Mech Warrior as a kid, the family computer was not in your bed. People didn't have like extra computers in their bedroom. They didn't have laptops. Laptops were huge. Huge as in physically large. Yeah, it was a totally different time. His dad yelling at him, calling him a lazy ass for being on EQ 9 hours straight in plain sight. Yeah. Dad's got to walk by him and then look out the window and see the yard still not mowed. And my dad would always yell at me about the dishes. I figured it out. I was like, if I don't want to get yelled at about playing games all day, which I guess I'm kind of being a hypocrite. I had a computer in my bedroom uh, from the time I was about 13 or so. His dad is straight out of Greece. It was the funniest thing ever. Now we have the comfort of being lazy asses in private. People don't even bat an eye anymore. Like, I could go to work on. Oh, oh, oh. He's up. There's the harm touch. Oh, come on. My heart is fluttering with excitement. Thank you, Kabobtik, for eating the harm touch. Those actually still hurt. Okay, here we go. Oh, this game is killing me. There's another bronze warhammer and no drop. Rip. Yep. Let's start the timer over and we'll do it again. Yeah, I could go to work on Monday and tell somebody like, yeah, I did nothing but play video games for 12 hours on Sunday, and they'd be like, "Oh, yeah, I did nothing but watch football for 12 hours." Like people are kind of just like like we're different now. Gaming isn't really looked down on like it was in the 90s especially. It was crazy back then. His dad would harass him. Sorry, I got there's like this little gnat in my room. I don't know how they're getting in here. Yeah, people were like more hard on video games, like, oh, those rot your brain. And now actually they're doing studies and figuring out that playing video games actually helps prevent onset of dementia and Alzheimer's, or at least so I've heard. I encourage everyone to do their own research, but that's what I've heard is that kind of like crosswords and Sudoku and all that, it helps keep you sharp. I'll be honest, like, I genuinely feel like I do better in my job managing multiple things at a time, because one of the first video games that I got really, really into when I was developing as a young adult, teenager, whatever, like old enough where I wasn't just like, sitting there with a controller playing Mario. I'm talking about like actually playing video games to to be good, was StarCraft. And like there's a lot of times in my job where I'm like, okay, I need to tell this person this so they can get to work on that. This person this so they can get to work on that. These two things can work concurrently, but this thing is dependent on this thing, so I need to start this one first. Like, yeah, I learned a lot of that through experience of just doing the job, but I feel like I picked up on that quicker because I grew up playing games where you're like managing a lot of things. I mean, even think about EQ, right? You're managing your health, your pet's health, your mana, your buff timers, spawn timers. Like, that's a brain exercise. When I was doing the lumpy goo camp, that was like that was white knuckling on EQ, especially. Yeah. Did I beat Contra? No, I've never beaten Contra. I've beaten very few games. I'm not ashamed to report that a majority of my playtime in the video game world has been playing games that technically can't be beaten. Like I've put more hours into Diablo 2, MMOs, uh, which Diablo 2 can be beaten, but when you beat Diablo 2, did you really beat it? Like you still so many things to do. Beating it is like the first step, and then you go farm a bunch of gear or whatever. EQ you can't beat. World of Warcraft you can't beat. I've played more of those games than games that you can beat. Neutral Rocket says 5,000 hours in Team Fortress 2. I wouldn't want to face you then. Holy smokes. I played more TFC than TF2. I barely played TF2, but TFC was my first real like experience with online shooters. Like I'd played online StarCraft, I'd played online Warcraft before that. I played Descent. If you guys remember Descent in the 90s, I played that. That was a shooter, but like TFC was the first shooter I really got into, and then I played Counter Strike after that. M. Kevin says we played the absolute hell out of D2. Yep, I did so much Diablo 2. And then even this year, I went hard on Diablo 2 solo self found as well. I just wasn't streaming yet. I wish I had streamed that because I think that would have made genuinely good stream content. Even though it was just repetitive farming. Very high highs. Like when you get that piece of gear that you've been waiting for weeks, or farming runes to try to build enigmas and all that. The custom game modes in Warcraft 3 were incredible. I agree. Warcraft 2 or no, StarCraft had good ones too, but Warcraft 3 was where it got big. Cuz we would do some StarCraft like use map settings like Zergling Rush, Monster Farmer. There was some good ones. And then Warcraft 3 took it to a whole another level, especially with like Dota. Even though Dota technically started on StarCraft, it was like kind of too clunky for controlling a single hero. And then Warcraft 3 was perfect. They made the game around controlling that hero and being really good at controlling a hero. So it just made sense that it transitioned into Dota. Yeah, the Zergling Rush, where you'd have like the checkerboard map and you had to like take over a spot and it would start spawning more Zerglings. So like the more spots you took over, the more Zerglings you got. And you could choose some of the maps. You could choose like Marines, Zerglings, or Zealots, and be or maybe it was everybody started with Zerglings, and then certain spots would give you Marines, and certain spots would give you like Mutalisks or whatever. It was really cool. Those were fun. I was a big fan of just big game hunters, 2v2, BGH. Me and my buddy would play on dial up. We were pretty good. We weren't. I like BGH because you didn't have to worry about running out of minerals. All the ladder maps, like your regular the maps that were actually designed for competitive play, you had to know like, oh, I got to move bases soon because this base is going to be out of minerals. I need to know where the next spot is, and I didn't like that. I just like playing BGH because you could just build up one huge base, and the expansions just made sense. They don't make them like that anymore. No, I agree. It was a good time. Late 90s, early 2000s gaming was a good time. Counter Strike. I got into that in like 2001 because I got TFC. Somebody gave me like a Half-Life disc, but it didn't have the CD key, so I needed a CD key. So I went online and I downloaded a CD key generator, and I had to fiddle with that for like several hours before it spit out a CD key that actually worked. And then sometimes the CD key was already in use, and I can only imagine how pissed off that person was that I like got a CD key that worked and then connected to the game and it like kicked them off. And because there was times where I would be fighting with other people where they'd be like, they would kick me off, then I would kick them off, and it was kind of like a war of attrition to like to be able to play the game. Like we just like kick each other off to the point where like one of us would get frustrated and give up. And then I'm kind of ashamed to tell this story on stream, but I know this guy really well, and I know he wouldn't be mad now because this happened like 20 some odd years ago. And I don't think it actually impacted him in any way. So I had a friend who had two computers in his room, and both of them had Half-Life on it. And if you knew how to do it, you could go in the registry editor and find the CD key for Half-Life. And so I nabbed his CD key for Half-Life out of his registry on his second computer, but I don't think he was ever using it, so I don't think it caused him any issues because he never talked about it anyway. And now that's the CD key that's actually registered to my Steam account, like to this day. Amazing. You should be the opposite of ashamed. I'm not like super. I was 14. I just wanted to play the game. I mean, it's not no excuse. It was technically like stealing it, but uh, if I remember right, he never used that. Like he never even turned that computer on. It was just sitting in his room next to his other computer, and he never used it. Me and my buddies used to do that to each other. I I'm telling all my like illegal stories right now. Oh, I downloaded from Napster, stole a CD key. I installed a Trojan on a friend of mine's computer just to like mess with him. It wasn't like a bad Trojan. It was like it lets you could go through their files, which is pretty bad, but you could also like open their CD tray and like change their settings and stuff. We just connected to it and like opened a CD tray and messed with his like desktop and stuff. Although we deleted his Diablo characters, which was not very nice. I am ashamed of that. I shouldn't have done that. Me and my buddies used to do that stuff to each other all the time, empty each other's RuneScape accounts out. Dang, that's cold. Took his gold stack, took his party hat. Wasn't that the big thing back in the day on RuneScape? Everybody wanted party hats. I will say having a chatty chat makes this experience a lot better because goodness, these 20-minute respawns are a nightmare. We had a drop party with our friends bank the one time. Oh no. You remember telling people like, "Hey, whisper M Kevin, he's giving away free gear." And everybody would like whisper you. Change his friends list. Yeah, those were good times. I played a lot of muds back then too. I was big in the mud. I had one mud. I've talked about it on stream before, where it was all role play enforced. So like, if you made a character in this mud, you were expected to at least have some bit of a backstory, and you were expected to at least act like your character. You didn't have to go over the top if you didn't want to, but you were expected to at least not be like, "What's up, guys? I just got my new Nokia flip phone." Like, you had to actually role play. And I spent a lot of time on that. That was one of those games, like, it was so immersive. I would log into that game and play like 12 hours and it would be gone like that. Like, I would look outside and be like, "Oh shoot, it's dark." And I've been on this game for 14 hours. Neutral Rocket says, "Reminds me of primary school. I remember logging into one of the computers connected in the school network and sending a network wide message about one of my friends to get him in trouble." Dang. Got to a point where no one would share accounts. Neutral Rocket says, "And teachers came to the class looking for him to talk to him about it." Oh, that's rough. Hey, did you know what was said about you on the school network? I figured out how to get Mario Kart running on the school network. So we would be playing Mario Kart on a Super Nintendo emulator in class. That's pretty fun. And at one point I thought I was going to be like a hacker. I was like, "Yeah, I want to be a hacker." And I tried to like hack the school's network and actually figured out quite a bit. Like, I was in the network and probing around their like different computers and servers. I never did anything malicious. I wasn't that dumb. Like, I'll delete my friends' Diablo characters, but I'm not gonna go in and like delete the school's uh, database or anything. We used to just use those sketchy proxy websites to get around the blocks. I never did that. And yeah, it wasn't. There was not a lot of security. It wasn't really. Cybersecurity was a very young discipline. Thank goodness it's come a long way. Because I mean, shoot, when I was a kid, I got the Chernobyl virus on my actual like EQ computer. So the Chernobyl virus is really interesting. If you ever want to look into it, a student in, I think, Taiwan or Hong Kong, one of those two, developed this virus and sent it out through emails and all that. And what it did was it read your BIOS clock. So as soon as you downloaded it, it would embed itself in your actual computer's like BIOS. And then it would read your BIOS clock. And as soon as it hit the exact month, day, and time that the Chernobyl reactor in Russia, like the anniversary of it, when as soon as it melted down, it went off and it wiped out like a ton of computers out there. The guy actually got jail time for it, or at least brought up on charges for it. But I ended up getting that virus, and my computer told me about it. I went to start up my computer, and do you remember back in the day when computers would start up, it would do like the RAM ticking up, and it would be like running its checks, and it would actually show you all those things back when like people were smart about that stuff. Um, the computer was like, "Hey, you have this .ch file in your BIOS," and it like warned me. And then a couple days or weeks later, my computer wouldn't when it went off. It actually wipes your BIOS out, so your computer is essentially a doorstop or a you know expensive piece of visual art, because without the BIOS, your computer doesn't even know how to start up. The BIOS is what tells you. You guys probably know this, but it tells your computer like, this is where the hard drive is. This is how much, like, how to access your RAM. It gives it all the instructions just to boot. So you would like, when after that happened, I went to turn on the computer and I pushed the power button in, and it was a black screen. It didn't even do like the C colon, little blinking cursor. It didn't do any of that. It was just strictly like dead. The power supply turned on and that was it. I used to get the sketchiest stuff on my PCs back. Yeah, I think I got it because my sister liked to play on the other computer, and I would want to play on that computer sometimes, so I downloaded a file that lets you put in another IP address and click nuke. It was called WinNuke, and it would blue screen the other computer. And I'm pretty sure that's how I got it because I downloaded it from like a hacker website. It just strictly, yeah, I was a bad kid, man. I'm actually feeling kind of bad telling all these stories. Like I was not nice. I just wanted to kick my sister off the computer once in a while. Used to download cheats. And the only Neutral Rocket says the only viruses I ever got were from downloading mods for Total Annihilation. Yeah, you had to be really careful about downloading anything back then. Because antivirus was so new, most computers didn't have antivirus. There were points where I was scared to go on my PC. I do distinctly remember having to um format my PC like once every 6 months. Like that was just a normal thing. Like I would wake up one day and it would be like it was getting slower and slower and slower to the point where I was like, all right, I'm just gonna do a fresh wipe. And I would just do a full format of the PC, and I did that several times. The mouse would start moving, windows opening. I get messages on AIM with people knowing my name. Oh my gosh. All right, that's really intense. That never happened to me. This day, I don't know if it was my friends or if it was real. That is pretty crazy. I just remember like what would I get? There was a thing at one point that was like get paid to surf the internet. Do you guys remember this? There was a program, there was a bunch of them out there, and I saw the ad for it, and it was like, yeah, get paid to surf the internet. All you have to do is install this software. And I remember telling my dad, I was like, Dad, I can make money just being on my computer. And it would do it. It would like show a little thing in like the lower right hand corner of the screen that was like how much time you had been on and how much money you had made, and it was abysmally bad. It was like 1 cent per hour or something stupid. Like you were never going to actually make any money doing this, but it was basically, it was spyware, and it would log everything. It probably had keyloggers. Yeah, it was like, it was bad, and it made my computer so slow. And there was kind of like a trick to it where sometimes you could get around not formatting by like you'd delete the program, you'd open up Task Manager, like see where the program was, go in there, delete the executable, but then also some of those were nasty where even if you deleted the executable, it would like re-download a new one or it would like replicate itself back onto your computer. So you'd like open the folder and you'd find the executable and you'd hit delete and then it would just come right back. You were like, what the hell? So then what you had to do was you would go into your registry and find the registry data for it, and you could like delete those registry keys, and sometimes that would get rid of it. But if it was really bad, you just format it and start it over. And now like I couldn't imagine that having to just format every 6 months. I would be There's so much stuff on my computer that I need that it would be such a pain to have to format this thing all the time. It would be a pain to format it once. But back then it was just normal for me to be like, nope, gotta do a clean wipe, start over. Computer slow again. Do over. I had to learn how to do that, and I remember the first time my dad took it to like Circuit City. Yeah, so this is funny. I actually made money doing that for other people's parents. So my dad had like a side business. Oh, it's a follower. Boo, follower. So my dad had like a side business of fixing computers, and he would like kind of subcontract his light work to me. And I distinctly remember going to people's houses and just doing what I just described to you, like uh, going through their registry, like, or just completely reformatting it for them. And they'd hand me like $20 or whatever. My dad would just let me keep it. He was like, "Yeah, whatever, just keep it. It's not. I wasn't gonna make a bunch of money off this." The guy asked for the password, and it was so unbelievably inappropriate that my dad had to spell it out for the guy. That's pretty funny. He's like trying to whisper it to him across the counter. He's like, "Yeah, what's the sir? What's the password?" He's like, "It's what?" He's, he ends up yelling it out in like uppercase. F U. Everybody's like old ladies are like looking around and like people are like grabbing their kids. He came back and said that was the first time he was embarrassed at a store. That's funny. I don't think I never had a password on my computer. The password was knowing how to navigate DOS to start Windows. That's not really a password, but to this day I can still navigate DOS. I should say I'm not proud of it, but I'm proud of it. If I didn't have a password, my little sister would nuke the PC. Yeah, little sisters were good at that. She just liked playing that game Cats. CATZ Cats. It was like the most basic piece of software there is. Like it would load in and you could adopt a cat and there was like four screens, but they were all pretty much the same. Just like one was a kitchen, one was a living room, one was outside. And you could like throw a ball of yarn. And this was like a full retail piece of software. And you could have multiple cats. They would like grow up. So you would adopt them. They'd be a kitten, and they would grow up. You could breed them with other cats. There was a whole line of software for that. It was called Pets, PETZ, and there was cats, dogs, probably a few others. That was like her thing, and I talked to her about it this year. Actually, we were reminiscing, and she told me she still has a CD with all of her old cats on it. I was like, dang. Like she's still got the cats files on a CD somewhere in case she ever wants to resurrect these, 32-bit, 32 kilobyte cats files. She played that in The Sims. So I've always heard good things about The Sims. Like people were like, yeah, The Sims, they get so into it. They're like so wrapped up in it. So one day, not that long ago, maybe probably about 5 or 6 years ago, um, I was like, I'm gonna try this because I've heard a lot about The Sims and I've never played it. So I legally procured a copy of the first Sims, from my local software store, Yarhar, and I got it running. It took a little bit of finessing to get it running because it's an old piece of software, right? But I was like, if I'm gonna play The Sims, I'm gonna try the very first one because that's the one that everybody was like so big on, right? And I open it up and I make a family, and it was a mom, a dad, and a son. And I'm like, okay, got it. Son's got to go to school. Mom and dad are getting jobs. Um, Things started going wrong really quickly. Like, dad had to find a job, and he found a job. So dad found a job right away. Okay, great. Good job, dad. and mom was doing her thing, and son was going to school, and then like the son started having problems at school or something. The dad, I still remember this. He stayed up all night one night watching TV because they couldn't afford a car yet, right? They couldn't afford a car, so dad had to carpool. He stayed up all night watching TV, and then at like 5 a.m., he went to take the trash out, and he got the trash, and he walked outside, and he put the trash in the can, and then he fell asleep on the front lawn. And then the carpool pulls up like an hour later, and they're like honking, and dad's not waking up. He's just like passed out on the front lawn. And then they left, and then dad got fired from his job. He goes back inside. He starts watching TV again. Mom comes home from work. She stops, like, mom and dad stop sleeping in the same bed. So, like, now there's problems there. The mom's now, like, sleeping in the bed with the son, which I'm not even going to touch that. And then it was about that point where, yeah, Kevin, I figured it out. I was like, wait a minute, I'm supposed to be telling these people, like, this isn't like a grand strategy game where I make sure he has a job, I make sure he has a car. Like, it's like I have to literally tell this guy what to do 24 hours a day. I have to tell the son to go to school. I have to tell the dad to go to work. I have to tell the mom to do her part or whatever. And I was like, at that point, it dawned on me. I was about 2 hours into this thing, and I was like, wait a minute. Like, I have 5 kids. Like, in my real life, I have 5 kids. I was like, I have to do this all day long. Like, I literally have to tell, like, especially at that age, like, hey, did you wash your hands? Hey, take your plate from the table and put it in the sink. Like, don't leave food there. There's gonna be bugs. Like, I have to do this all day long. I was like, why would I play a video game to relax while they're asleep and do the exact same thing? And Kevin says, I was gonna say, I don't think you're their target demographic at this point. No, absolutely not. Like, I'm actually a dad. Like, I don't want to dad digital characters. It doesn't bring me joy to like tell these people what to do at every single, like, I feel like you had to tell them to go to the bathroom if I remember it. Am I right, or am I remembering this? Like literally the poop meter would fill up and it'd be like, hey man, go take a poop and don't forget to wash your hands. Like, I would have to do that. I was like, why would anybody play this? Definitely a shower. Yeah, it was definitely like, it was eye opening to me. I was like, people pay money for this. This is my real life. Like, this is stressful. I don't want to do this. It's kind of like those bullet hell shooters where you're like, why would anybody play this? Actually, I think bullet hell shooters are pretty cool. Make them stay home and play EQ. I've seen some like really funny stories that I won't relate on stream about some of the things that your your Sims can do. Like, I mean, the one I saw that I can't say on stream is like they became like a serial killer. I guess that's a thing. Like, your Sim can become a serial killer. Kevin says, my sisters wouldn't play the game. They would just enter the cheat for max money and build a mansion. Yeah. Uh, that was kind of like, so my first ex-wife, she was really big on The Sims, but that was how she would play it. She would just put in a cheat and then do whatever with it, which is kind of cool. It's like Minecraft creative mode if you think about it. Like, you can build whatever you want. You don't have to worry about, I don't have to go farm, 6,000 stone blocks to build this mansion. I can just put in a cheat and have it. I can definitely see that being a little bit more fun. But then at the end of the day, like, what's the point if you built this mansion? It's kind of like Minecraft creative mode. Like, what? Yes, it looks cool, but like, for me, I like playing survival because I know that I went and mined all that rock. I know that I chopped all that wood. I know, like, building that house was a total process from start to finish versus being able to just load it up and plant a bunch of blocks. Have you played Valheim? I have not. I've definitely seen a lot about it and I've heard that it's good. That was a COVID game, wasn't it? That was a game that came out during the COVID years and took off because of not because of, but COVID helped it, if I remember right. There's like 3 games that stand out to me as COVID games. Animal Crossing, New Horizon, I think. Whatever Animal Crossing came out during COVID. Um, WoW Classic got a huge COVID bump, and then what was the third one? Oh, Valheim. Animal Crossing was actually kind of fun. Not gonna lie. Oh yeah, I 100% think that it's actually like it's a cool game. I don't think it's Animal Crossing isn't big because of COVID. I think COVID just it was like one of those games where everybody was playing games at that time, so it got even bigger. I think that game would have been just fine without COVID. Neutral Rocket says it is a fantastic game if you want survival and creativeness and brutality. I like all of those things. I should check this out. We were up till like 4 a.m. playing Animal Crossing. That's my girlfriend. She streams, or I think she's done. I think she's had enough. But she was streaming Animal Crossing. But I feel really bad for her. Like, she just wanted to like stream and have fun and chat, and she's like fully clothed, like modestly dressed, and people were coming in her stream and just saying nasty things, and she actually got called a racial slur, which really really frustrated me. Like I don't, it's just that's just not okay. And at that point, she's now it's like almost like an avoidance thing where she's like, I don't even want to get on there and do this anymore because it's like almost kind of scary to have people, like just random people, come in here and say the things they've been saying. Neutral Rocket says, I did Animal Crossing 365 days in a row to complete the museum. I need to ask her. Hang on real quick. So she says she's completed the fossils and that's it. She hasn't done the bugs or the fish. I don't know a lot about it. I've watched her play it. I can respect Animal Crossing. It looks fun, but it's like one of those games where I look at it and I go, that's cool, and I get that it's really cool for some people, but it would bore me to death. Bugs, fish, painting, and fossils. Yeah, she's only done the fossils. She really likes the fossils, apparently. It's kind of bad, but I almost feel like a game has to have like combat and looting and power growth for me to really want to invest in it. Like I like Stardew Valley, but even that is kind of like hard for me to get invested in because like there's not enough action. I'm trying to think if there's what's a game that I've gotten into that actually doesn't do that. Not yeah, I can't really come up with anything. And Kevin says I honestly only played because of COVID. We had just gotten sent home for good, and my job was confused. For like I'm right there with you. I got sent home and then didn't do anything for 2 months. That was like crazy 2 months of just grinding WoW Classic. Good for me though, because I was able to do. It basically set me up to raid the entire rest of WoW Classic and really enjoy it. I think if you want to play something to play off stream, try Valheim. Not that you would have much time. Yeah, right now when I'm not on stream or working on videos, which I just finished my masters, so I have more time now. I've been playing Minecraft Survival with my girlfriend, and we have like a survival world that we've been working on pretty regularly. Hence why we're up till 4 a.m. Yeah, during COVID, time like didn't exist. It was like time was irrelevant. You just stayed awake until you couldn't stay awake, and then you slept until you needed to be awake again. There was no schedule. That was my COVID experience. It was weird, like, because all my kids were home too, and we were just all in the house together, and we would have to like come up with reasons to leave. I still remember walking out on my deck on that during that first like lockdown week and looking out at the highway, and the highway was like empty. And then like like once every like 30 seconds you would see like a car. And normally that highway was just busy. And I was like, dude, this is bizarre. I'm like in a zombie movie right now. Neutral Rocket says, but it's full of exploration and danger until you can find the gear. I like that. Yeah, it sounds like Minecraft with more like of the stuff I like. So you've got me interested. I wonder how much it is right now. Kevin says, one of my friends was doing triple raids some nights, boosting SM on his mage. Yeah. I would do Dire Mall and farm Dire Mall north on my hunter and just make tons of money. Raided every other night. ZG, MC, BWL were the raids at that time. Because AQ hadn't come out yet. By the time AQ came out, I went back to work. I quit playing WoW Classic for about 3 months because I was just like, my new job was really demanding and I wasn't able to maintain a raid schedule. Like the last thing I wanted to do was get home and be like, I gotta log in, I gotta play this game. So I think I still played a little bit. Like I still had an active account. I still would do some stuff on the weekends, but I wasn't like raiding. I quit my guild, and then that's a once I got settled in the new job, that's when I found the actual like I got invited to the Blizzard guild without realizing it was the Blizzard guild, and ended up raiding the rest of WoW Classic with the developers, which was super cool. And Kevin says it was the first time a lot of us had that much time on our hands since like high school. Yeah, if you go look at like Steam charts for almost any game on Steam charts, any multiplayer game or even non-multiplayer, you'll see like April 2020, or was it March? It was April. April 2020, there's like this huge spike in the Steam chart for like every game. People were like, "Shoot, what am I going to do?" They all went home and played video games. Netflix probably made a ton of money. Oh, it was such a weird time. Like I remember we wanted to get Clorox because at that point we didn't really know like how bad it was. We didn't really know what to expect, and so we were like, we're gonna get a bunch of Clorox so that we can like Clorox disinfectant spray. And so I went on Amazon and they were naturally like, yeah, they were totally sold out. Stores were sold out, but the power of the mind. So what I did was I researched what is the active ingredient in like Lysol. It was Lysol. What is the active ingredient in Lysol? And I found it, and then I researched what products have that same active ingredient, and then that's when I learned there was a product out there called Moldex. I'm going to put it in chat. Moldex. And when you compared the label for Moldex and the label for Lysol disinfectant spray side by side, they were like identical. And I went on Amazon and there was tons of this stuff. Like I was like, shoot, I'm gonna order like 3 cases. I ordered 3 cases of Moldex. It essentially was disinfect. It was the same thing as Lysol. It just had a different name on the label. And I was like, yeah, like our brains, man. That's the like the adaptability, and life hands you this situation and you go, okay, how do I defeat this? Oh, I know. I'll just use my head and think about like what is it? What am I actually trying to do here? I'm trying to get this chemical. Well, what else has that chemical in it? Oh, Moldex. And it was the same thing. I don't care whether it says Lysol on the side and tells you it's going to kill 99% of germs. There were people selling homemade hand sanitizer. I totally remember that. People had the bootleg sanitizer, or they would go buy up like cases of sanitizer and sell it. Toilet paper, oh my gosh. Like everybody went nuts on the toilet paper. I was in a Walmart when they first announced, like the day they announced like this was actually here in the States. And yeah, people were going crazy. They were buying like tons of stuff. All the cleaners, everything. I went and bought a bottle of hand sanitizer just to have it because I was driving across the country. I was like, I need this just to. I actually to this day like to keep a bottle of hand sanitizer in my car. Or dish. I like to do dish soap, but it gets so hot here that the dish soap tends to explode, and then I have a huge mess to clean up. But yeah, in my vehicle, I typically always have hand sanitizer or dish soap, and then a roll of paper towels, just so I can like clean my hands. Neutral Rocket says it's a scary preview of societal collapse. Oh, we got the Crusader. So I feel like what COVID taught us was that we are completely unprepared for an actual, like, truly deadly, like, deadly to a majority of the population virus. All right, stream. I'm gonna open it and I'm gonna keep my eyes closed. Okay, and then I'm just gonna try to feel the energy. So 1, 2, 3. I heard the sound. Oh, the timer's going off. Ah, no. This game is killing me with this. That's probably I'm gonna say I've killed at least 15 of these. I have everything crossed. Thank you. Let's see. I got one more in me. I got one more 21-minute spawn, and then I told my girlfriend I would be um it was right there and it disappeared and warped to level 1. What do you mean? It's still there. High corpse none. Did I miss it? I always just check that second slot. No. Ah, okay. You're just messing with me. You got me. High corpse looted. There we go. That was weird though. Yeah, you like. Apparently, if you ST a mob, we should experiment on this. Let's see. Is there any mobs out here? The gyrating goo. What should we cast? We'll cast a shock on him. Let's see if this happens again. So last time I had him standing about right here, and I ST'd him, and he disappeared. Nope. Failed to replicate the bug. That was so weird. It like he was right here and he just like poofed. I'd like to think he's still out there somewhere. Oh no, another good. Look, we duplicated him. Now there's 2. I learned how to dupe mobs, guys. Now we'll just need to dupe the crusader. I don't know. Should we try it again here? ST this guy? Nope. He just gets ST'd. He doesn't disappear. If I get another revenant on the next go around, I'll try to get him to despawn again. At least it's a chill camp. That's kind of how I justify it. Like at least it's a camp where I can sit here and talk and BS and I don't have to worry about my mana and I'm not tracking 7 different spawn timers and white knuckling it. I should update the wiki. I think what you're really saying is I should go on Rants and Flames and make like a 3,000 word post about how this game is bad. Oh, I don't even need to grab these Bella Shul's homes. I can save some bag spots. Those sell for like a gold, maybe. Yeah, I think I got 2 of them. Good if you're an enchanter. Make a post in the bug forums. So here's the thing. I'm gonna show you. Let's see. Tattered arm wrappings. So here's how I know they exist. So on the wiki, I mean, you can see they're You know, they're here, which doesn't automatically mean it exists. Over here, there's a bunch of people that have sold them, but then 100% like confirmation to me is this guy right here. So Belgavin is a bard in Castle, and he farms this zone regularly. And he sold a pair for 50 plat. So that tells me that he was down here farming back in September and he got these. Because I see that guy like all the time in here. They definitely exist. You're just getting, yeah. Like I'm at this point, I'm wondering like how unlucky am I? Like what's actually going on here? Imagine farming this for days to sell it for 55. That's the irony of this whole challenge is these are literally best in slot arms and they are 50 plat like vendor trash for everybody else. And I'm farming these things like they're freaking Thunder Fury. Should see some grinds that people go through on old school RuneScape. Yeah, I've heard. No thanks. I do need to do a quick 20,000 kill count. Oh my gosh. Yeah, actually, I have a guy that worked at my last unit that was telling me about this. I'm going to do a quick bio, be right back, and then we'll have about 15 more minutes of farming, and then I'm going to have to kill the stream. But I encourage you to stick around and see if we maybe get it on the next go. Okay, I'm back for the exciting conclusion of the 2 hour, 2.5. Oh my gosh, where did the time go? I'm just glad to be back on Twitch. And it like kind of warms my day when folks ask if I'm streaming. That makes me. You would think that would be like, what do you want now? It's like, no, I actually appreciate it because it lets me know you guys enjoy what I do, and I enjoy doing this too. It's made the latter half of this year a lot more interesting and enjoyable for me, and I've been getting really into the YouTube and making videos as well. They're not like killing the charts on YouTube here, but it's cool. Like people, there's a handful of people that follow this challenge exclusively through YouTube, and I'll get on here and they'll whisper me and be like, "Hey, what happened with this? Did you get this?" Which is kind of neat too. Neutral Rocket says, "I would love to see part two of the Mr. Best Friend story." So that's coming. I'm not gonna say it's in development. It's in the ideation phase as far as what I want to put in there. I feel like down near, like closing out down near, is kind of the a good point to do it, but at the same time, I'm having to wait till 44 to do the church. But I feel like I'm going to hit 44 quick once I get out of here. Like, once I get out of this gear phase, it's not going to take long to shoot up 3 levels, non-hell levels. Surely by 45. That's kind of what I was thinking. Like, maybe get the Visceral Dagger done and then do a recap slash in-game, not in-game, what's in-character, like, recap, kind of how the first Mr. Best Friend video was. And then 45 is close enough to 50 to kind of say, like, hey, we're at the Deathly Hallows Part 1, and there'll be like a, to use a Harry Potter reference, like there's going to be like a Deathly Hallows Part 1 and a Part 2, so it'll be like 45 is close enough to say, like, hey, we're approaching the end, and then I'll do probably another recap around 50 something, 55 maybe, and then do like a final recap, and then I'll eventually, and this could be a long ways out, I don't know how long this is going to take, I'll probably do a full like retrospective video where I just talk and it might get, I'll have to edit it down and all that because I'll probably talk in circles, but where I just talk about what what doing this was like, and to do that I'm gonna have to do some reviewing of the streams and probably watching my old streams and kind of like putting myself back in the mindset of, because even though it was just 2 months ago, like I've already kind of forgotten what it was like running around Field of Bone, just fear kiting out there, and I don't know. I could probably put pen to paper and have a decent idea of what to talk about in a few minutes now that I'm thinking about it. But yeah, I'll do like a full up recap. M. Kevin says, I can remind you it was terrible. I remember at one point I needed to kill certain mobs. There's only certain mobs in Field of Bone that were blue conning to me at the time. And there were so many Ixar Marauders that were red conned that would just totally destroy me. And I was so frustrated because, like, there was no blue cons, there was only greens and reds. And I was like, ah. And then I had to come back because I wanted to get the Hungry Earth spell, which I never got. I still have yet to see the words drop for Hungry Earth. And I came back and I needed to farm Ixar Marauders, and there was like none to be found. And that's when I came to the conclusion that Project 1999 moderators are following my progress and screwing with me personally. Which is why I haven't seen my sleeves drop. I see you, Rogine. I know what you're doing right now. I'm on to you. All I have to do is wait till you fall asleep and my sleeves are going to drop. Kevin says, I usually have so many copies of Hungry Earth, I don't know what to do with them. Yeah, it's so weird. Like, it's all RNG. It's all just the drops, Neutral Rockets, I think I've donated a few to the guild bank. It's so rough, yeah. And I was specifically farming Hungry Earth, and I was trying multiple different places. Swamp of No Hope, Field of Bone, Kern's Tower, all trying to get Hungry Earth, and never once saw those words drop. I just made a Necro on blue, and I have 2 in my bank, and I'm not even doing research. You guys are just playing with me now. You're like, yeah, I rolled a level 1 warrior, and for some reason Hungry Earth was in his inventory. No, I get it. Like, I just got unlucky, just kind of like how I got unlucky here with this guy here, this crusader, but like I've gotten lucky on other things, like this guy right here, the Bracer the Hidden. That's a pretty rare drop, and that's a huge one because this allowed me to do the GCD reset. And it also has another use. I can throw See Invis on me and my pet very easily, and there are enemies that dispel you and your pet, and by having See Invis, it helps eat that dispel, so you're not getting your pet's haste is not getting dispelled. And Kevin says, I trained it a bit and made it because I didn't want to leave cab. Yeah, there was like a lot of spells that if I was not Kunark only, I would be able to go get, like on my enchanter, I could illusion myself and go buy and pay Neil. and just bring it here for me. Kevin says, yeah, I was here for that. I think that was the first stream I watched of yours since you changed your name. Because were you, Kevin, when you were here when I was still Huck Nasty? Ex Huck Nasty? Like, I think you followed me a long time ago. Let me see. I think it'll tell me. Yeah, following since March 28th, 2021. So that means you followed me on probably one of my final streams before I went overseas back in 2021 because I streamed a lot between February and the end of March 2021, and it was like it was popping. Like it was crazy to me. I've not posted numbers like that ever since. Like it was weird. I would log into stream and be like crazy for me, right? Not crazy for like soda popping or whatever. Like I would log in and have like 20 viewers pretty much right away. Um and I was streaming a lot though. I was streaming like I'm not like I am now where I'm like, "Hey, I'm going to stream from, 7:30 to 10:30 or whatever." I was streaming like freaking 6, 8, 10 hours a day when I wasn't working, and the stream grew like really fast. Chose a great game to stream, 3 to 5 viewers. So I I I look at the view count, but it doesn't like the view count doesn't change how I stream, if that makes sense. Like I'm not like watching and going, "Oh, there's 5 people in here. I need to start acting like entertaining." Like I stream the way I stream. And if people show up, they show up. If they don't, they don't. If there's chatters, it makes it more active. But I do commentary throughout. I do a little, probably less commentary if there's no chatters. Because I'll be honest, sometimes I just run out of stuff to talk about when there's no one else talking. But I have a handful of people that watch the YouTube videos, and so that kind of brings it all together. Ham Kevin said, "Oh wait, so Neutral Rocket says this is fun though. I'm glad I stumbled upon you." Oh, that's right. Yeah, I sent you a message in Kearns, and usually if I like, I won't go to a zone and be like, "Watch me on Twitch" and post it in OOC. But if I give someone gear or if I like give them advice or whatever, I'll be like, "Hey, by the way, I stream," just to throw it out there. I'm not gonna be obnoxious about it. No, nobody likes that guy. I'll never watch if someone's yeah, oh, like if somebody gave you gear and then they're like, "Hey, give me a follow." I just draw the line at not spamming the zones and not like aggressively self-promoting. I like Dak Dog, he's in here fairly often. I think he and I just chatted one night and then I was like, "Hey, I stream." Neutral Rockets, yep, we were chatting in Kearns. I can't remember if I think I was off stream when I was chatting with him and was just doing the Skull of Torture quest. But yeah, you guys make it pretty enjoyable. I wouldn't have done this challenge without streaming it. Like sitting here doing this without having folks to talk to is just does not sound fun. Like I'll watch movies sometimes when I'm not streaming just to give me something to do. But it's I don't know, I'd rather do this. But I do get it sometimes like if I'm gonna grind something for several hours, I won't stream all of it because I just like after I hit a point where talking is no longer fun. And I'm like, if it's not fun for me, it's not fun for people to watch. And like when I feel like I've run out of words, I'm like, okay, I've run out of words. Like it's time to kill the stream. Neutral Rocket says, yeah, I asked if you were going down the basement. That's right, yep. And I've kept my Badger faction, which, spoiler alert, The Badger faction is gonna come up in the next Mr. Best Friend storyline video. It's gonna be a thing. That's all I'll say. The teaser alert. And Kevin says people would post their stream links on WoW P servers, and then they just get people to come in and abuse them. Exactly. That's why I don't do that. I don't want to draw like that attention. Yeah, neutral rockets. You were KOS. I wasn't, so I was like, I can't really go down there with you because it's gonna play out very differently for me than for you. And you had to fight if I remember right, you had to fight your way through there, and it took you a while, but you made it. You made it happen. And Kevin says I absolutely nuked my Berry Knife action this go around for the first time. So I nuked my Berry Knife action as a young Ixar on my monk in 2001, not realizing that you could not. I always just thought Barry and I were KOS, like because I killed one probably once and didn't realize they were non-KOS. And I didn't realize till I played this game again many years later that you can keep your Berry Knife action. And being solo self-found, it's super easy to do that. But if you go like group up in Kerns, the chances of your Berry Knife action, if you go to the basement, is like keeping it is like a slim to none because somebody's going to be KOS and then they're going to kill that thing. It's such a troll move, yeah. I don't know if you get a faction hit unless you. I don't know how that works. If you don't participate at all, will you still get a faction hit? You don't. So as long as you don't heal them or buff them or do anything, it's a pen keeper. I got for my final. What we saw the crusader twice tonight. There's one mob in there that will trick you. I know which one you're talking about. I featured him in my video. Yeah, it's the finger bone skeleton or there's some skeleton. Dang, what's all this? It looked like a lot of stuff, but it was like whatever. The goblin skins I recognize. I need to just probably grab those, but I'll farm them at some point. Yeah, I actually almost killed that guy. Like he was at probably 50%, maybe less, and I was like, "Oh shoot, he's a Baronai faction." And I had to click like go away on my pet, which by the way, everybody say goodbye to Kobob Tick and his awesome Cloud Strife Buster Sword. He was fashioning it up pretty hard tonight. Thank you. We salute you, Kobob Tick. Yeah, I had to like real quick stop fighting that guy and feign death because I was about to nuke my Berry Knife faction, which would have made the Frontier Mountain farm a little bit more difficult because there's Berry Knife that path around there. Kevin says, I got power leveled there once and avoided all the Berry Knife to save faction, but that damn skeleton. Yeah, it's really easy to do. Well, tonight we farmed for 3 hours on the Skeletal Crusader, and we saw him, I think, twice, maybe 3 times, and all 3 times we were denied. So, tomorrow night I will be back at 7:30 or my normal stream time, 7:30 Mountain Time, and we'll try it again. Friday night I have a Christmas party to go to, so I will not be streaming this Friday, because I've got real life things to do. And then Saturday, Sunday, I have cleared off for strictly the Monsters and Memories playtest. So if you're interested in that game, come check me out over the weekend. I'll be up. I'll probably be streaming more than I normally do, just because you only get that server for so long, and I want to collect a lot of footage to make YouTube videos. So. With that being said, chat was really chatty tonight. I appreciate you guys being here the whole night. Neutral Rockets, Kevin, anybody else that was lurking, thank you for watching. I'll say it again, there's 70,000 streams out there to choose from on Twitch, and you chose to spend your time here with me. and that's incredibly humbling, and I'm very grateful for your viewership. So, you too, Neutral Rockets, I'm Kevin. Y'all have a good night. This is the Amamocracy, and I want to encourage you all to stay classic.